How's it going, everyone? Jiraiya Gaming here. Welcome back to episode number 34 of my Jiraiya's Topic Wednesdays. Now, from the thumbnail, you guys should be able to tell what we're going to be talking about. I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's one that we need to be discussing and talking about. And not just me, but everyone needs to be better educated about that too as well, in my opinion. So be sure to definitely get involved and let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Now, we're going to be talking about, of course, guys, the homeless people, or just being homeless in general. Truth behind this is that a lot of these homeless people have mental issues. A lot of these people have issues in general. A lot of these people just can't get out of the fact that they're, can't get over the fact that they're homeless, or the fact that they're in a hole. They're at the very bottom. And sometimes, all that can help them is just, someone reaching out and give them a helping hand. But I don't think enough of that happens in, of course, America, so to speak. Obviously, this is not just an issue with America alone, because obviously this happens all over the world. But I think as rich as a country we are here in America, we should be giving back more to, of course, help people, especially the fact that a lot of these people were once veterans, are not once veteran, but are veterans. And a lot of these people were people that, went and fought a war in Iraq, came back and they're screwed up from the crap that they're seeing over there. Just imagine you being 18, 20 and going somewhere where you've never been before and witnessing people blowing themselves up, witness body laying all over the place, worrying about, whether you're gonna make it or not, worrying about your fellow soldier, your fellow, man next to you fighting along with you as well, if they're gonna make it or not, or if you guys are gonna make it together. It's a tough situation, to be honest. And, a lot of, in fact, there are studies that prove, right now, that a lot of these guys that went and fought in Iraq, a lot of them are committing suicide. A lot of them have mental issues from the type of stuff they've seen over there. A lot of them, can't function right, and therefore they end up being on the street. They end up resorting to drugs, and of course, you know where that leads you. That leads you down the gutter, and therefore, hence the reason why you have so much, homeless people in America, and it gradually climbs every single year. And of course, 2008 didn't help us a lot too as well, with people losing their jobs left and right, pretty much, just not being able to control themselves when it comes to, pretty much indulging in the negatives, or drowning themselves in sorrow, so to speak, or, trying to, I guess you could say self-medicate themselves from dealing with reality, so to speak. You have a lot of people committing suicide, jumping out windows because they lost their money, lost their jobs, and so forth, etc. That's just the way it is. We in America are used to having money and having things, and sometimes when it's taken away from us, we, sometimes go to drastic measures, and sometimes that may be taking your life. Sometimes that may be, falling down the ladder and just not being able to pick yourself back up. Falling in depression, and what comes with that? People use drugs and all the different means to try and please themselves, so to speak, or try not to think about it. The same thing when someone dies, a death, dealing with a death. And again, so to speak, just think about all the military people that went abroad, went overseas to fight wars, and saw all the things they did and came back here. What do you think happened to them? A lot of these guys are committing suicide. In fact, there was a study that showed that that's what actually the highest rate for soldiers dying was due to, of course, suicide, and mental issues leading up to suicides and so forth, from, of course, the war in Iraq and so forth, etc. After 9/11. So it's a big issue, in my opinion. And then to hear that some of these states are actually making it illegal for homeless people to be in the city, South Carolina, so to speak. They passed a bill in 2013 that is illegal for homeless people to be in the city, which I think is ridiculous. And talking about moving a shelter to as well 15 miles from the city. Yeah, they were there for a reason. They didn't have a choice. A lot of these guys were once military members. One of these guys, fought in Iraq. Some of these guys, are veterans as well. Lay their life down on the line to, serve and protect this country. And yet still we treat them like garbage. That's particularly what people think of homeless people, as garbage, as, filth, scum. And that's how people view them. In fact, I'll probably link a video in the description so you guys can check it out. But homeless people actually reading mean tweets and comments that people are making about homeless people. Now, obviously, there's people that make it bad for everybody else, that pretend to be homeless, and they're not. Recently there's a woman that was found out, begging with her kid, and someone followed her, run her plate, and find out that she went into a Mercedes and the vehicle was registered to her. These are the things that happens that make people have a bad taste in general for homeless people, but that shouldn't be the case. What do you guys actually think about this? Do you think homeless people are being treated fair? Do you think we should do better as a country for our homeless people and the men and women that fought for us? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to get you guys' opinion. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. And of course, guys, as always, I'm your host, Jiraiya Gaming. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.